Good afternoon, everyone. Especially to you, sir, Dr. Dennis Bilicura. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Melvin B. Cariaga from BSA 4th year. This afternoon, I will discuss about the assessment planning. What is assessment planning? Assessment planning is all about the coverage about the assessment design, the learning targets, and etc. And the under of assessment planning is the assessment design. What is assessment design? The assessment design is the process of creating assessment, thus an accurate measure student knowledge, skills, attitudes, and competence. That is the assessment design. And now let's proceed to the characteristic of assessment design. The first characteristic is aligned, valid, reliable, fair, and practical. When we see aligned, it is the aligned with learning objectives and curriculum standards. The valid is measure what is intended to measure, that is valid. And the next is reliable. When we say reliable, it is the produces consistent results. And the next is fair. The fair is give all students equal opportunity to demonstrate learning. And the last characteristic is the practical. It is easy to administer and score. And now let's proceed to the one of the coverage in assessment planning is all about the types of assessment design. What are the types of assessment design? The first one is diagnostic assessment. The diagnostic assessment, it is the identify students' prior knowledge. The second is formative assessment. It is monitors learning during instruction. And the third is summative assessment. The summative assessment evaluates learning at the end of instruction. And the last is performance assessment. The performance assessment, it requires students to demonstrate skills through tasks or projects. And now let's proceed to the assessment blueprint. The assessment blueprint is a table or plan that shows relationship between learning outcomes, content areas, cognitive levels, and assessment items. One of the purpose of the assessment blueprint is ensures balanced coverage of curriculum, aligns assessment with learning outcomes, prevents overemphasis of certain topics, and the last is promotes fairness and validity. That is the purpose of assessment blueprint. The example of assessment blueprint is the learning outcomes is defined communication. The topic is introduction. The cognitive level is remembering. Number of items is 5. And the assessment type is multiple choice. That is example of assessment blueprint. The next is learning targets. This is a part of the assessment planning. The learning targets are the specific statements describing what students should know, understand, and able to do after instructions. The characteristic of learning targets is clear and specific, student-friendly language, measurable and observable, and the third is aligned with curriculum standards. The types of learning targets is the knowledge targets, reasoning targets. When we say knowledge targets, is the facts and informations. The reasoning targets is thinking and problem-solving skill. The third is the skill targets. It is about the performance of specific tasks. And the fourth is product targets. It's about the creation of projects or outputs. Like for example, the learning target is The student says, I can identify and explain the 5 elements of the communications process. Now let's proceed to the assessment scheduling. When we say assessment scheduling, it is the process of planning with assessment will be conducted during a course or lesson. The importance of assessment scheduling is prevents assessment overload, allows sufficient time for instruction and review, provides regular monitoring of students' progress, and the last is helps teachers manage grading efficiently. The sample of assessment schedule is, like for example, week 1 is the diagnostic quiz, and the purpose is determine prior knowledge. And the next is the assessment documentation. When we say assessment documentation, is the systematic recording, organizing, and storing of assessment results and evidence of student learning. The purpose of assessment documentation is to track students' progress, supports grading decisions, provides evidence for reporting, helps identify students' need intervention, and the last is improves instructional planning. The example of assessment documentations are the number 1, class record, test papers, rubrics, checklists, rating skills, or student portfolios. And another example is the observation notes and also the progress reports. And that's all about the assessment planning, and that's all the coverage, and hopefully you learned something from my discussion. God bless us all. Thank you very much.